Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here. I have some of my favorite people with me. We're going to be talking about the market of the moment. It's 2022. The housing market is booming. And so we're going to talk about what the market is like, the challenges of the market, and also come up with some solutions and how you, as a real estate agent, real estate investor, can kind of navigate yourself through the market and still win, because that's what it's all about. There's ways that we can win. And I remember between 2000, I'll say 2001 and 2006, it was a similar market, and we thrived. And so we're going to continue to thrive, and we're just going to navigate through this market. So I've got a wonderful panel, starting with Donna Heslop, who's been with me for a number of years. Donna, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Donna Heslop. I have been a full-time real estate agent for over 17 years. I stopped counting at 17, so I would say over 17 years. And as Greg mentioned about the 2006 market, I came in at the end when we had the type of market then that we're having now. Very passionate about real estate. That's my number one thing, my only thing. That's the only thing I do is real estate. And so I've worked with many different types of clients, whether it's sellers, buyers, landlords, tenants, investors, you name it. I've worked with just pretty much the whole gamut. So that's it. Anything else you wanted me to say, Greg?
No, we'll come back to you. And Darren, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Darren Mitchell. I'm with the D&D Home Sale team underneath Bennett Realty Solutions. I've been a realtor, investor, and owner and business person for over 13 years. When I started real estate, I was actually a dual income agent, meaning I had a job with the Defense Intelligence Agency where I worked my way up to the top. And then just recently, I resigned from the Defense Intelligence Agency to go ahead and run my real estate team and business.
Good. Tarsha, how about you?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I work on title and mortgage, and so my role is branch manager for the mortgage company, Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, and my background is spreads from being a practicing attorney for many years, and then also a real estate investor. And like Donna, my passion is really real estate, and so I've decided to kind of broaden the scope of my involvement in different aspects of real estate so that I can continue to grow as an investor, but then importantly also help people in the community to also build wealth through home ownership and through real estate investing opportunities.
And so, Donna, let's start with you. We're into this market, so let's go back 2 years. So the pandemic started 2 years ago. We all thought that it was going to be doom and gloom. Like I was panicking. I furloughed some employees. I didn't know what was going to happen almost exactly 2 years ago.
Yes.
And then what we found a couple months later was a booming housing market.
Yes.
And so go back then, because I know your mindset was different at that time than it is now.
Yes.
So go back then, 2 years ago. What was your mindset?
Well, I can clearly remember. I mean, as I can see the day that I felt, wow, this is going to impact my business. Because of course, just the idea of staying in, if you may, is like, okay, how as realtors do we survive if we're not going out? Because that's what we do. We go out and we show properties. Or even if we're not working with buyers, we go out and we look at properties to sell. So I had many phone calls with people saying, oh boy, it's going to be opportunities to buy homes at low prices. And so for a minute, I believed that. But then something strange happened. I started getting phone calls of people wanting to tour homes virtually. So luckily, I had already adapted to the whole virtual world. I got a Zoom account. And for those who did, and before I got the Zoom account, I offered I have an iPhone, so I offered doing it FaceTime, and I have WhatsApp. So for those who didn't have iPhones, I offered doing it WhatsApp, just video. And it was like business never stopped. As a matter of fact, business just started picking up. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. It just, I don't know what it did to people, but it just energized people to, it's almost like they were retaliating against the COVID. Like the only way they could retaliate against it was through real estate. And then all of a sudden, prices started going up. The market became like, when I say fast paced. And so I did have a lot of sellers who decided to hold off on listing their properties because they were afraid of people coming into their home, and rightly so, because of course, at that time, no one knew the severity of the virus. But I know for me, I never stayed in. I was actually, sorry, I was out more than I would have been had it not been the virus. I kid you not. I mean, that year I went to Jamaica twice. I went to Mexico. I went to Florida. I was always outside. I just like, there was no way that the virus was gonna stop me and mobilize me in any way. So for me, life went on, but for a lot of people it didn't. And so yes, I lost a lot of potential listings, but I ended up having more buyers because normally the year before I had more sellers than buyers, but that year I had more buyers than sellers. And then, you know, it started hitting like, oh my God, there's not enough inventory because a lot of sellers decided, oh, I'm gonna halt because I don't want people coming into my house. So it presented a challenge as it relates to buyers who were still looking to buy. But I tell you, I don't know. It's just been a crazy market since then. This pandemic really like boosted the housing market, especially for sellers.
And so, Darren, do you remember 2 years ago where you were, what you were doing, and what your take on the pandemic and what your mindset was at that time?
I do. You know, I have a slightly different take because 2 years ago I was still with the Department of Defense full time as well. So before that, I had already kind of adapted technology into serving my clients in real estate business. And, you know, I was quite busy doing that already. So when COVID hit, it actually just gave me more of a chance to get out there with the clients in the same way that Donna was just talking about, you know, helping them. You know, so I never saw a drop in my business. I actually saw it increase because what ended up happening for me was clients started to embrace that technology feel as opposed to bringing contracts and being face to face all the time, you know, with a client and so on and so forth. COVID actually helped me in that aspect. So business started to grow, you know, with the interest rates coming down and more buyers coming into the market. That really, really helped my business. And at that point, for me, it was also helping other agents with their business started to grow for me as well. And that's what was happening for me, you know, about 2 years ago. And it really, you know, COVID was a good time for me to understand what it was I wanted to do, whether it was remain a dual income agent or, you know, come out and serve my clients full time and take on a bigger book of work. And that's actually what happened to me in COVID. When you're dual income, you have to be very selective in your clients and who you're going to serve and so on and so forth. And now that I'm full time and full time managing our team, I'm able to, you know, we serve everybody in real estate and we just do what we love now.
And so 2 years ago, as I said, I thought it was doom and gloom. It wasn't. And so I think a couple of factors, and I want to talk about those factors. So what are some of the factors that probably caused us or the housing market not to be doom and gloom? I do remember the day that I heard on the news that real estate was going to be deemed essential. And so all the non-essentials had to stay home. And I was worried. And as I said, I furloughed over half of my staff. Everyone had to go work from home. I was nervous, but then they deemed real estate essential. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like we can actually get out and sell some houses.
Right.
But then and I'll let Tarsha speak to this, the interest rates went down. I think they almost went, did they go down to like 1%? I know at least 2%.
Two and a half, 2.25.
And so the interest rates went down. So what happened then was, since the interest rates were really down, now you've got a whole lot of millennials who are first-time home buyers saying to themselves, I want in, because interest rates were down. So now there's a whole lot of buyers coming into the marketplace. But because of COVID, a lot of sellers said, look, I can't, no, you're not coming into my house. I'm not selling. I'm going to ride this out. I'm going to wait.
Yes.
So now there's a lack of inventory. And so with the lack of inventory, sellers not selling, buyers wanting to sell, you know, now we go into a seller's market. And this has been a seller's market like no other.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, both Don and I talked about in the early 2000s when it was a seller's market for about 5 years, 5 or 6 years before the market crashed. This felt different. And this market is different.
Yes.
And so, Tarsha, tell us from where you sit, how the market has been from 2 years ago to what it is now, what you've seen.
So you're exactly right. Rates dropped significantly, more than ever, and it's now moving in the opposite direction. It's an upward trend now. I don't think that rates have been this high since about 2018, if not before. And so you are definitely seeing that upward trend. Another reason why there was such a boom is because people had to stay home and they looked around and they weren't happy with their surroundings. And so now people wanted to have more space, accommodate their families better. And so people were anxious to get into a larger space to be able to accommodate working from home, having their kids at home. And so a lot of people were looking to upgrade as far as their living quarters, so to speak. And so that also contributed to the saturation of the market with buyers and then converting to a seller's market. So here we are today. Yes, rates are again higher than they've been, certainly higher than they were over the last 2 years, but it's still, if you look at historically a 10-year period, rates are still relatively low. And so I think that that's always something to keep in mind is it's not just about the last 2 years. You have to look the last 10 years, the last 20 years at what the market is doing. And that's really important for buyers to understand is that there's still opportunity to lock in rates, and those that are a little are aware of that and kind of look historically as to what rates have done are locking in rates now because rates are rising. They will continue to rise. The Fed has kind of indicated that there will be interest rates hikes throughout the year this year. And so buyers, it is in their interest to definitely lock rates, get out there and purchase because it's only going in an upward direction.
And what is your forecast? Do you see the market continuing to rise?
Absolutely. The market is rising. The government has to deal with inflation. They have to deal with in the secondary market, balancing their sheets. There are a lot of what we call mortgage-backed securities that are being sold on the secondary market, and dealing with all of that probably the average consumer doesn't understand is also a factor in rising interest rates. And so they're heading up, and we just deal with it and we pivot as lenders, we pivot as agents, we pivot as buyers. And everybody always wants a home. For whatever reason, there's always going to be a circumstance where you need to purchase a home. And so instead of looking and kind of obsessing over rates, just look at your finances and see what you can do to strengthen your finances so that you can purchase. Another component that we should all think about is taking advantage, if you already own a home, of the equity that has increased over the last 2 years in your home, and see how you can leverage that equity to purchase, if you're an investor, additional real estate. If you're a homeowner, maybe you want home improvement or you need the funds for something else. And so again, kind of taking advantage of that equity when rates are not up top yet. They are rising, but they haven't gotten to the height, and kind of jumping in and leveraging that to move forward is definitely opportunity. And as sellers, sell, because the rate you're still going to get a lot of money for your property, and it's opportunity for you maybe to upgrade, to use the funds for retirement purposes, to use the funds for leveraging other opportunities for yourself and for your family, and again for your wealth. And so I think all around, our kind of counsel to buyers is, don't focus so much on the rate. Let's just strategize about what your financial situation is and how to prepare you for purchasing a home. And if the monthly payment is going to be higher because rates are higher, then let's again strategize and think about how we can manage your finances so that the monthly rate is affordable for you. And so sometimes it might mean paying down some debt, that you otherwise won't have to deal with when you have a higher monthly payment. Or it means selling your home and using the proceeds from that home to get something else and also pay down debt, so that when you do have a higher monthly payment, it's manageable and affordable for you. And so that's the strategy. And I think when you have that mindset, you win. And so and that's the key, is really just your mindset and strategizing and finding solutions, rather than kind of focusing on the rhetoric of, oh, rates are going up and what are we going to do? It's just focus on how, for yourself, what's your goal, what's your plan, and how are you going to achieve that goal financially and otherwise.
Yeah, that's good, because no matter what type of market we're in, there's a strategy that you can utilize to win. And so when we're in a market that we're in, with home prices going up the way they are, and they're going up like over, in some areas, over 20% a year, just means that you've got a lot of equity. And part of the way you win is you can pull some of that out if you want. It's not a taxable event. It's free money for you to invest in home improvement, like Tarsha said, or another property, whatever that looks like. Donna and Darren, give me an idea. We read about this stuff all the time, but give me an idea of, kind of in real life, how crazy the market is. How crazy? How many offers are you having to make on properties? Are you standing in line to go into houses when you hold open houses, like 100 people coming? Just give us a real life example of the craziness of the market. Let's just say in the last year, how crazy.
Yeah. I've had many conversations about that, because I've had many new buyers come in to me to buy homes. And, I give buyers consultation as my very first meet with my buyers. And I'm always very, like, I lay everything on the table, just, so the expectations are not where we're just going to be spinning wheels. And so, I'll tell them about the market as it is today, meaning that in most cases, and I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but in most cases, when a home is listed, you're going in offering more than what's asked. Not only that, you're doing as-is inspection, and that could be with no inspection, or as-is with right to terminate. However, I've recently done as-is with inspection and crossed out with right to terminate, because my buyer was frustrated with how many times they had been beat out, and they were buying over $1 million home. And this was $1 million plus, right? And they were still getting beat out. And so what we ended up doing, we crossed out the right to terminate, and we removed the financing contingency because they wanted to. And because of that, they won. And they offered $60,000 more than what the house was listed for. I've had buyers who offered 80, 100,000 more and still didn't get it. So again, it really is a case by case situation, but I'm always preparing my buyers to understand that this market that we're in is not like the back in the days when you're offering less and asking for closing help, or you're offering what they're asking and still asking for 3% closing help, it's totally not that market today. And it hasn't been in probably close to 2 years or more. And so, it's the preparation state that becomes, it's almost like the analysis phase of a project. You gather all your facts together, and you let your buyers know, listen, this is the market that we're in. Let's prepare for it. And anyone can be a part of that market. Yes, you may, if let's say your budget is a $300,000 home. Well, maybe we'll do a contract on a $250,000 home and can offer more, or a $275,000 home, but not at the max that you are. So, it's a case by case basis. And, I just really prepare my buyers for the type of market that we're in. Now with the sellers, I spoke to a potential client yesterday, as a matter of fact, and this client was moving from out of state, and her comment was, okay, you know what? I'm going to sell my home here to an investor, and then when I come to DC, I have you help me to find a home. But what I said to her, I said, listen, you're in a seller's market. It would behoove you not to put your property on the market, because a lot of the times the mindset is, oh, I don't want to pay a real estate commission. And so what I said to her is, listen, if your real estate commission is, say, let's $12,000, you may end up getting $50,000 more than you would have gotten had you not sold it to an investor, and that $12,000 is moved. So again, as a seller, I'm always educating my sellers. Listen, do not take the shortcut of saying, okay, I'm going to sell off market, because you don't know what another 20, 30 people will be willing to pay for your home. I have another seller that I'm listing for shortly. She's also said, oh, my neighbor, her relative wants to buy a home, and she has been beat out the market. So now she wants to buy my property off market. I said, okay, are you willing to give your neighbor's relative $30,000, $40,000 just like that? And so she went. I said, okay. Hence, we don't, and we're talking about in a location where she'll definitely get much more than even what she's asking, and potentially get over the appraised value. So it's like, okay, I mean, if you want to give it away, I mean, that's prerogative. But yeah,
it behooves a seller in this market
yes,
to put their property, on the market in the MLS.
Right.
Because you sell it off market to one buyer,
yep,
there's no bidding war.
Exactly. And that's
on the seller side, you want bidding war. I mean, some of you guys, and I'll let Darren speak now, but I mean, I know Darren you've had some listings that you've gotten like, multiple offers on your listings. So give us an example of how crazy this market is, Darren.
Yeah, so a specific example is this. I listed a property, and it's a townhouse. It's in great condition, and basically we received 36 offers through marketing and open house in our efforts and so on and so forth. But we received 36 offers, and half of those offers were $45,000 above the list price. And so when I list properties, I still do use the historical comparisons, and I try to list them for what the market is. So I don't list properties that I believe are unreasonable. Meaning, sometimes as realtors we get sellers who have a feeling of what they believe their house is because they may have saw like a Zillow or a Redfin or Realtor.com valuation, but we have the empirical data to back up what is going on in your actual neighborhood for your actual property and its condition. So I list properties very fairly. However, to the buyers, I will let you know, in this market, the list price is the floor.
yes.
It is the floor. It is what, after you just listen to what I just said, far as I talk to my sellers, I don't just let them list at what they feel or because they see something online. I use empirical data because I'm always concerned about appraisals and things of that nature as well, right? If you have a house that's going to appraise for $250,000, I can definitely bring you $1 million offer. but you're not going to sell for $1 million. So I just made that up as a big exaggeration. But long story short, point number one, the buyers, the list price is the get the attention price, right? I want to drive you to my listing. Okay, so when we list that townhouse in this example, our team did a great job at our marketing our open house. We literally had 300 people come by in a 4-hour time span. So 2 hours on a Saturday and 2 hours on a Sunday. We had 300 people. That ended up turning into 36 offers that we encouraged people to write, right? So we're trying to help other realtors by saying, hey, look, what got it. Are you going to be in the ballpark? Maybe not, right? So we listed that property at $260. At the time, we got 36 offers. Half of them were over $300,000. We just told everybody who was $285 and below, good luck, so on and so forth. So long story short, list price is the attention price. For the buyers, we are looking at, sellers are looking for the highest net. Yes. So you can write the highest price if you want. We are looking for the highest net. I've received offers on those, and in our team we negotiate. When I'm not going to kid, when good seller agent's going to call you back and negotiate and get better terms for your client, we negotiate things such as, a low appraisal comes in, how much are you willing to put up in cash, based on your purchase price, right? You're willing to pay this amount. However, you shouldn't make an offer that you think you're just going to get reduced because of an appraisal, right? Because I have another 10 offers that I'm going to exit your deal and go with their deal, who will pay the difference. Are you willing to pay the seller's closing costs, right? Because it's all about the seller's net. And and all sellers should know, like a good agent's going to tell you, it's all about your net. Bells and whistles, got it, but the bottom line never's wrong. So with that being said, the other thing is realtors have to, in every offer, give each set, the buyer and the seller's comparable market analysis. I'm going to go, just like a stock commercial, you'll say past performance is not indicative of future performance in stocks. In this market and seller's market, past performance of what is sold is definitely not indicative of what somebody is going to pay for the property. So buyers, you have to remember that when we're writing contracts and you see the comparables are $40,000 lower than what we're advising you to offer to be competitive, that's the market we're in. So Greg, if I were to sum it up to the buyers, 3 things. Historical comps are not an identifier of what the property will sell for. The listing price is the attention price. And I like what Donna said. If you're appraised at the listing price or approved at the listing price, then 9 times out of 10, you probably want to look at $30,000 to $40,000 lower than what you're approved for, so you can be competitive at that point. I love what Donna just said in there. Sellers are looking for the highest net and the best terms. Donna just talked about no home inspections. I just talked about seller credits to make your offer more advantage. Low appraisal amounts. So those type of things are what's going to move the market. And then also something that's in Tarsha's lane. Tarsha and I have been talking about this, and I've been trying to get my buyers with Tarsha to get the underwriting approval. Right? So there's a difference between getting pre-qualified, and then there's a difference between getting underwriting approval, which is what Tarsha will do. And so what that does is it betters your offer, because sellers also want speed to close with less conditions. Yeah. So if they know if they know that your mortgage person only needs the address, you're good to go. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And as it relates to the no home inspection, I remember home inspection, even in this type of market.
Darren, go ahead and
yeah, in my 17 years of doing real estate, believe it or not, except for investor properties, I may have only had one client who didn't do home inspection. And I know for a lot of agents, that's like unheard of. However, for people to invest their hard-earned dollars into, a lifetime investment, I always recommend inspection to them. And for those who have decided that they're not going to do an inspection, I have them sign something stating that I advise them to do an inspection. So I know that the market is of such where people are not doing home inspections, but for my buyers, I always recommend home inspections because, again, one never knows what could make or break them later on.
So Donna, you're saying even in this market, you're still recommending. And so I would say
as is, but they can do the as is, but the inspection for informational purposes. Yes.
So inspection is for informational purposes only. I would not use a home inspection as a contingency, though.
Right. No. So what I said was we did an as is home inspection without the right to terminate. So they still, they still felt comfortable going into $1 million home because they did an inspection. And whether it's a $200,000 home or a $300,000, because in most cases, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes are first-time home buyers. And in most cases, they don't have the wherewithal to afford a major blunder in that property. Now,
in this market, I think the reality is that we can't. If Darren is getting 36 offers on a property, he's not going to take an offer that's asking for a home inspection, and so he's not going to take. He's got to have a way to weed out all the offers.
Right.
And one of the ways to weed them out is he's only going to take offers that are no home inspection.
And I do that too.
And so then the question is, as a buyer's agent, how do you protect your buyer, even though you're writing a contract not contingent upon any home inspection?
Well, they can do a pre-inspection. So a lot of what I have inspectors who do.
Darren's not going to let you do a pre-inspection.
Do the walk and talk, right? Again, Greg, I do a lot of listing. I have more listings than I have buyers. And yes, with my contracts that I get, I recommend the ones that have no inspection. So I get you. I'm saying for when I work as a buyer, when I have the other cap on as a buyer's agent, again, I recommend it. It's up to the buyer. The buyer may say, okay, you know what? I've been beaten out so much. I don't want a home inspection. Fine. But what I'm saying, my fiduciary duty to them is to make the best recommendation as it relates to their situation. Mind you, they may not get the home, but at the end of the day, I'm always going to err on the side of what's best for my buyers, what's best for my sellers. And I do believe, again, that's just me, an inspection a lot of times is critical.
So Donna, is it okay if we agree to disagree on this issue?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
in this market,
I know.
If I'm doing a great job for my buyer, I'm going to tell my buyer we can't ask for a home inspection.
Okay, that's you. I got you.
Because when you don't win,
yes.
when you're writing contracts, I teach you guys how to write winning contracts. You don't win. Your client is blaming you.
Right. Yeah.
Now, so what do we do? What do we do for our buyers? We tell our buyers, you can get a warranty. You can purchase a warranty, or the agent can purchase a warranty for you. So there's things like that. You can have inspections without an inspection, meaning you could ask to measure. You can do a walkthrough, things like that.
Right.
So that and then bring whomever to take a look at what's going on in the house. But in this competitive market, if you're asking for a home inspection, you're not going to win.
Right.
That's
just the reality of the market.
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't necessarily. It's probably a double negative, but I don't not recommend I don't recommend that they do not have a home inspection, right? I generally steer clear of that because really it's the buyer's choice. So what my job is to educate my clients to the fullest. I need to download the knowledge I have to my clients so they can make the educated decision as to what they're comfortable with submitting an offer with a home inspection that home inspection contingency, a home inspection that is for informational purposes only, or a no home inspection. And I just talked to them about the strength of that offer in this market. And so I don't really change that strategy just because we're in a seller's market. If we're in a buyer's market, I say the same things to my buyers. This is just a part of strength of offers. We happen to be in a market where it is the sellers are the kings and queens at this point. And if you want to get a offer accepted, you have to understand, which is my job to educate you on the power of your offer, your influence over other offers to the seller. But I also let them know a home inspection is to ascertain the condition of your property. So you know what you're buying going into it. Absolutely. If you're waiving that, that is what you're missing. But I don't ever go one way or the other. I just give my buyers the strength of what your offer is going to be, right, in this market. And that's all.
And so one other point to add to the conversation, one thing to be mindful of, kind of taking one step back, is that's one term, whether you're going to waive a home inspection or not. But one thing to be very mindful of in the spirit of winning is the relationship. Yes. And so having a conversation as an agent with the seller's agent to find out what is the seller looking for, right. What is important to the seller in when they're selecting a deal, and that will also help as well in winning the contract. And having your lender have a conversation with the seller's agent about the strength of the financials of the buyer can also sway the seller's agent or the seller from choosing one contract over another. And so being mindful of the relationship and having conversations and not just submitting an offer on paper without forging a relationship through conversation with the seller's agent, I think is also one key component to be mindful of beyond just the terms.
Yep, totally agree with you, Tasha.
And I think this is good conversation because ultimately 70% of all listings, there's a bidding war, 70%, which yes. means you've got to learn how to write winning offers. You've got to know how to win. Part of that is, like Tasha just said, you've got to have in a very, very short period of time, bond with that listing agent. Generally yes. speaking, the listing agent is going to choose an offer from an agent that they either know that are in their office or has a reputation of getting deals done. And so you want to have that conversation. As a real estate agent, you also want to get the lender to call and talk about the strength. I mean, as a listing agent, that always made me feel good when the buyer's lender called and gave me the strength.
Yeah.
The other takeaway from the conversation for me is, in a seller's market, in my opinion, there's a challenging side of the deal, and then there's a winning side. The winning side is always on the seller side, as a listing agent and as an investor. And so as a real estate agent, you want to be on that winning side where you hold the gold. The gold in this case is the house, is the listing. And so as real estate agents, and I see some of our agents are on the call here, you want to do everything you can to, like these guys are doing, get listings. In the seller's market, you want to be a listing agent.
Absolutely.
Because the challenging side is working with buyers, writing offers that include home inspections like Donna, and losing. I'm just messing with you, Donna.
I know you are, but guess what? I'm not losing. We go by what?
I'm just messing with you, Donna. I'm just messing with you. And so, Donna and Darren, help me out with this. We've got some agents that are looking right now. I'm telling them we've got to be listing agents. We got to get on the winning side in a seller's market. What
Right.
are some of the things that we can tell them to do to get listings?
Market. Um, uh, Fortunately enough for me, most of my business come from referrals. I would say 99% of my business come from referrals. 99 point something.
And so
But
I'm gonna write these things down. So
mhm,
referrals, but
having
purpose.
good relationships with your current and past clients. You you have to take yourself out of the algorithm and make your clients the priority. It's about them, and when they see you treating them that like they are the number one priority, and you care about them, you care about their outcome, they have no issue referring you to referring business to you, and that's like deep in my soul as it relates to being an agent. I care, and you know, this is it's not some I'm just feeding you this to say it, but this is just who I am. So I care about, you know, the final result that my client get, and they know, and they see it, and they feel it, and they know it, so they refer me. And then for the other agents who may not have that rolodex of past clients and current clients, just market yourself, you know, whether, I mean, the traditional way, whether it's postcards or phone calls or going to doing open houses, or, you know, passing out your business card, or doing marketing material. You know, I mean, it's all there, pretty much going back to the basics, and you know, to find sellers, whether it's, you know, calling for sale by owners, or, you know, knocking on doors. You know, there's just a lot of ways in which you can actually get the listings as a realtor.
How about you, Darren? What advice would we give real estate agents on getting listings?
Yeah, absolutely. What I would say is have conversations. Kind of where Donna was going. She gave you some great examples of doing that. Have conversations. That's what I do every day. You know, what I would do is tell everyone you're in business and ask for help. Right. So that's going to help you get your referrals up. Number one. So that'll be, you know, that's a tactic for, you know, sellers and buyers. Right. So what I would specifically do, and what I ask my team to do, is identify in your phone how many contacts you have that live in the states that you're licensed in, right? So for me, I'm DC, Maryland, soon to be Virginia, right? And so then what I do is I start to contact those people and see what their real estate plans are, see and better develop the relationship that I currently already have with the contacts in my phone. So I start there. I start close to home, right? I'm starting with my phone, and then the next I'm gonna, you know, I start with my neighborhood, right? So now the weather's starting to get great. Of course, I'm going to be printing out my flyers with my, hey, I'm in your neighborhood. I see 2 signs on my street. Of course, that burns me up every time I go by. But, you know, I'm going to let them know that I'm the neighborhood realtor. I want you to sell at the highest price because it affects me personally as well. Because I'm the guy who does what Tarsha says, take the HELOC out and buy more investment properties so they can pay for my mortgage. So, you know, that's what I would say, Greg. I would say, you know, keep it easy. You know, when you're out, give out, you know, and I tell my team all the time, it's better to get information than to give your business card out. Because you give your business card out, nothing happens.
That's
right.
That's true.
Get the information and then give your business card out, right? So start with your phone, see who you already hang out with, be that real estate expert in the room. 9 times out of 10, when I'm out with my groups, any group that I'm a part of, join your associations, volunteer. 9 times out of 10, when they see me coming, I don't even have to mention real estate. They want to talk to me about it.
Absolutely.
This just is what it is. Start with your phone, get it in there, start contacting them, right? Start having lunch, build a relationship that's not real estate focused, and you will get real estate as a byproduct, buyers and sellers. Next up, start with, you want to sell properties, start with the neighborhoods you walk and run in, right? So print your flyers out, put them in your back pocket, walk around your neighborhood. My wife, she's a realtor as well. She walks our neighborhood. Hey babe, when you're walking with the ladies, can you pop these in our neighborhood? Make sure they if that's weekly, they're probably tired of me. But yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, good. And so just to add to what Don and Darren is saying, I think social media. So the bottom line with listings, you guys, is branding yourself. You've got to brand yourself, and so you have to brand yourself as a listing agent, not just now but forever. No matter what type of market we're in, we all know that listings bring buyers. We all know that with the listing, you have the opportunity to get both sides of the deal. We all know with listings, you work less than you would with a buyer. So in my opinion, a real estate agent we should change the name of a real estate agent to be listing agent. Like, you're a listing agent. I look at all real estate agents as you should be a listing agent. And it baffles me when I see agents that all they do is work with buyers, especially in this market. It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot. And so it's about branding yourself. Or really, it starts with your mindset. You've got to have the mindset that you are a listing agent.
Yes.
Now you've got to brand yourself. Best way to brand yourself is to say it on social media. And then I always had a message, I had a message. So my message was, I'll sell your house in 30 days or give you $1,000. And trust when I say that worked. And I put it everywhere. I put it on the radio. I put it on postcards, all my emails, my letter, everything. I had that message, and that message talked about me being a listing agent. And so it's more important than ever in a seller's market, because now you hold the gold. But whether I'm in a seller's market or a buyer's market, I want to be a listing agent, because you're making more money per hour. You get paid. You have the opportunity. I don't hear a lot of agents talk about this, but you have the opportunity to get both sides of the deal. So you're able to give yourself a raise per deal. You can hold open houses and do all the marketing. That's where you get your buyers from, all the marketing from your listings. And so it's kind of a shift in your mindset that you've got to be a listing agent. One other thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, a couple things, is we're starting to see new construction, a lot of new construction coming up. And I see it all around me, because I live in a neighborhood where they started building in my neighborhood probably about 16 years ago and stopped because of the recession. Now they're back building, and houses are selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And so when I look around and I keep up with all this stuff, I see a lot of new home starts with new construction. And so new construction plays a major role in this market, because what I see is you guys are showing houses, new construction, because sometimes it's less competition. And then you're also showing houses from real estate investors that have recently renovated the houses. So your buyers are picking houses that look brand new, which is good. And so you guys keep your eyes out on more and more new construction. And then let's quickly talk about the role that or how this market affects real estate investors. And so let's start with you, Tarsha. On the mortgage side, what are you seeing on the real estate investing side? The type of loans you're doing for investors, kind of mindset of investors in this market, and what are our investors doing in this market to build wealth?
So there has been some flexibility in the products. And so while there was a freeze around the time that COVID became a pandemic, literally, investors in the secondary market, so the investors that purchased the loans froze up. And so a lot of the products that you typically would have for real estate investors went away. But then now they've come back, and those products are usually no doc loans, light doc loans, where you're relying on the financial health of the property rather than income qualification for investment purposes. And so that's kind of what we're focused on, is allowing for investors to use the financial health of the property in order to invest in properties. And so that requires you that the two biggest components is the appraised value and the rental comps when you're buying and holding a property. And so a big issue, frankly, that we've been having are rental comps and being able to, um, there's an equation called the debt service credit ratio, and that's the on the top is the rental comp or the rental monthly payment, and then on divided by the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment. And so, one issue that we have been having is appraisals and being able to justify a certain rental payment in order to justify the loan, frankly. And so that is another key component is, as listing agents are having conversations with appraisers and saying, here are my comps, here's where I think your appraisal should be. And while we as a lender cannot do that because we're not permitted to communicate with appraisers, agents, don't hesitate to talk to your appraisers, because on the investing side and on the buying side, it's going to matter for purposes of the loan going through from our perspective. And so while we do have these loans available, light doc, no doc loans, it is really important that we get the value in order to justify extending the loan to investors. But the opportunities are out there. I know that traditionally you would use lines of credit or use other means of financing loans, but now it is very popular to just look at the financial health of the property that you're looking to invest in and use that as an opportunity to purchase that property or refinance that property if you've purchased the property previously and you now have equity in the property. And so, as you always say, Greg, the key to your success for investors is buying the property right. And that's another kind of landmine that investors can walk into, is not buying the property right. And then when they try to either purchase or refinance, they're not able to do so. So plug for your coaching program, get the education, and align yourself with seasoned investors like Greg, who can guide you on how to purchase those properties right and not act on emotion, act solely on the strength of the financials of the property.
Okay. Donna or Darren, you guys want to make any comments about the investing side?
On the investing side, I mean, investments are always available. I mean, it just depends on each person's criteria and what they're capable of. But investment is always there. So I would say take advantage of it, regardless of the market. Because I've heard investors say, "Oh my God, everything has gone up. There's no opportunity." There are opportunities. There's
always opportunity. And so what I see on the investment side is it's just a wonderful market. It's a wonderful market on the investing side. The wholesalers are making a killing because there's cash buyers that know that they can buy the property, renovate the property, and sell for top dollar. I recently paid $30,000 wholesale fee for a property that I bought for $300,000, renovated the property, put in about $150,000 into the property, put the property on the market for $600,000, and I was happy to get $600,000. And I actually got an offer at $650,000 that I flipped the property and made, into the six figures of property in DC, and, paid that wholesaler $30,000. So the wholesalers are making a killing in this market, because traditionally wholesalers are buying at 65% of the after repair value minus repair costs, and they're assigning those contracts at 70%. I'm seeing cash buyers, investors buying at above 70%, like 75%. Mm-hmm. And so the wholesalers are making a killing. Of course, the fix and flippers are making a killing, because, by the time you buy a property and renovate the property, it's already gone up another 10-15%.
Yeah.
And so they're making money. And then when you're going to buy and hold, and I've kind of shifted my model to buy and hold, I've been astounded by the number of renters that are in the market, and I prefer voucher holders. But there is an advent of renters in the market now, primarily for two reasons. Number one, they're getting priced out
Yes.
of the marketplace. And then number two, interest rates are going up, so their mortgage payments are higher.
Yes.
And so because of that, give me a second, Darren. Because of that, when we're buying and holding, now we can rent more. And then there was just an article that I read, I think it was yesterday, that Section 8 housing just recently went up about a year ago, getting ready to go up again. And so it's incredible, and it's because of the marketplace that we're in. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, I think, I'll jump in like hopscotch on that one because you guys are on fire. The first thing I would say is just go for it because for me, I'm one of the true believers you can't go wrong with investing in real estate, right? There's just too many ways to mitigate the risks that are out there in real estate, number one. And then the benefits always over time outweigh the negatives. I mean, you have capital appreciation, tax advantages, you have appreciation. I just said that. I love that word. You also have the opportunity to get residual income. So even if your strategy, and this has happened to me many times, my strategy was to flip a property and then it just made more sense to rent the property out. Over time, if you look at the amount of cash flow and so on and so forth, it just makes it, or vice versa. I've gone in, started renovating a property just to get top rents, and then next thing you know, I go ahead and sell that property. So I would say to anybody out there, go ahead and do it. The other thing is you want to, if you're timid to do it on your own, partner with somebody. Partner with somebody who has done it. There's we're in real estate. All of us are in real estate because we like helping people, right? And if we can help, and we get the best of all worlds, right? If we can help people and make money and to feed our families and build wealth, that's even better. And speaking of building wealth, that's the number one reason you want to do real estate. That's the legacy building type of wealth. So go for it. The other benefit of real estate is you can leverage it, like we were just talking. You can it's all like the old Monopoly game. Go ahead and buy 4 greenhouses, sell them, cash them in for a red house, but just use Tarsha to do it. You like that? You owe me one.
Any closing words, Tarsha?
I would say just like Garen said, go for it. There's a lot of background noise. Maybe you want to come back to me, but there's an opportunity, as Darren just said, and take advantage of it. And just in every aspect of your business, just think about your goals and don't let the noise prevent you from achieving your goals. Whether you're a buyer, whether you're an agent, whether you're a real estate investor, as whatever you are, just work towards your goals. Be solution oriented. I had a case today where the agent said, the buyer doesn't have the money. We're $1,000 short. Where's the release? And I'm like, hold on. Don't you want to win deals and do business? Like, let's make it work. Let's find a way to find a solution.
Did you say they were $1,000 short or
$1,000 short? And she's like, I'm not going through. He doesn't have the money. It's like, no, we find the money.
Exactly.
We make it work. And
yeah.
so that's our goal, is always to find solutions to make it work and find out what's important to you and just make it happen.
Yes.
And so Tarsha, what's your contact information?
So my email address is tphilibert@prmg.net. And then I also have an Instagram page, Tarsha Talks Real Estate Finance. You can find me there and ping me, and then I'll reach out to you either way.
Okay, give us that one more time.
T and then my last name, Philibert, PHILLI, B as in boy, ERT as in Tom, my last name, and then at prmg.net. And then on Instagram, it's Tarsha Talks Real Estate Finance. Tarsha Talks Real Estate Finance.
Okay. Donna, any closing comments?
It's a great, great, great market. It's great opportunity. Just look at it as a glass half full. Whenever you feel like, oh my God, this is getting me down. Listen, there's always a way. And so as Darren said earlier, I don't know a better investment vehicle than real estate. I've been on I'm on the investment side as well. And as on both sides, I don't know it better. And I used to be a day trader in the stock market, and I'm still in the stock market, Bitcoin, you name it. But to me, real estate is the number one investment vehicle.
That's good. And before we get to Darren, so I'm proud of you guys because you guys understand multiple streams of income. And so, yeah, you might be doing mortgages, selling real estate, but you're also investors, all three of you guys. And as I always say, you'll never, ever become wealthy just selling real estate or just doing loans. Right. You also have to invest. And so, and then it's good that you guys understand the market because this market, the markets itself, they ebb and flow. And so this market is going to change. We don't know when. We thought this year was going to be the change. Actually, we thought last year was going to be the change. And I just read something from an economist that said next year is going to be just like this year, not as bad, not as tight, because there are some inventory that's going to come on the market, but it's going to be a seller's market. So you've got to adjust and use the markets, to your benefit. Darren, what advice would you give everybody?
I would say go out there, buy real estate, have a professional guide you that has done it before, so you don't make the mistakes we've all made on this call investing in real estate. We will help you avoid that, especially Greg. I call Greg all the time. I call Tarsha all the time. And just basically with real estate, just think about this. They don't make land anymore. The more you own, the more you build your legacy, the more you build your wealth. It's a simple equation. You have to do it. Doesn't matter to me what the interest rates are. Doesn't matter to me how high the prices are, because there is a way to benefit from real estate.
Right. And let me answer this question real quickly. I have a farm property I'm trying to advise. He's looking to rent. He doesn't want to get an inspection as part of getting the rental license because it's a quaint farmhouse built in 1900. What do you advise? And so in almost every jurisdiction, you've got to have a rental license. And so you've got to tell him if he wants to rent the property, he's got to get a rental license. And in most properties, I mean, it's built in 1900. He's got to get a lead test as well. Mm-hmm. So he's got to get a lead test, termite. The house has to be inspected, all of those things. And yes. So that's the advice that I would give him. Also, the best way to get a hold of me, you guys, the easiest way is to go to my Instagram, Greg Bennett Invest. I'll put up another banner if you want to get on my my schedule. You can go to gbschedule.com. You guys like how I use this technology? gbschedule.com is scrolling. Donna, are you impressed?
Greg, nothing surprises me with you because you're just the bomb.
All right. Having said that, this has been fun, you guys. We'll have to do it again. Let's take the show on the road. How about that?
Sure. Do you want my information?
Absolutely.
Can I give my information?
Go ahead, Donna. If you guys want to get a hold of Donna, this is how you do it. Go ahead, Donna.
My Instagram is Donna Sells DMV Real Estate. You can always get me on my email, donnaheslop@gmail.com. Very plain old vanilla, Donna Heslop, HESLOP @gmail.com. And my phone number, you can always reach me, is 301-674-2651.
And I don't know that you gave your information, Darren.
No. So, yeah, people can reach me, text, call me anytime. My number is 443-595-7814. If I generally don't answer, I generally will text you back when I'm going to give you a call back. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, right now I am at Mr. DMV, like DC, Maryland, Virginia, real estate. At Mr. DMV Real Estate on IG, and I'm just good old Darren, Darin Mitchell with 2 L's on Facebook. So Darren Mitchell on Facebook. Friend me, I'll friend you back.
All right, you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for participating. Hit the button, Darren. Okay. Look, you guys.
I got to invest in my technology.
Look, you guys, my biggest takeaway is whatever the market of the moment is, we take advantage of it. There's always wins in every type of market. You just have to figure out how to get to those wins and not be intimidated. I think Donna said the glass is always half full, and it is. You know, we'll come back when the market shifts and talk about the advantages of a buyer's market.
Yes.
But we're in a seller's market now. Let's win. There's ways to win. If you think this market is doom and gloom and you can't take advantage of it, then you're right. You can't. But if you think this market, that you can win in this market, there's lots of opportunity, then there will be. And you just have to figure it out. And so you can make an appointment with me if you want to talk GB schedule. Thank you to my wonderful guests here. You guys have a great rest of the week. We are into the second quarter of the year. If you're behind in your goals, let's catch up and let's do it.
All
let's
right.
go. All right, you guys. Take care. God bless. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.
Ready.